rejection. No worms around the womb, just loss. An invisible infinite was dissolving in this double horizon, swallowing itself. It was the arid escape of the mouth open, calm, as if the last quiver of word had been released. Explanations were not serious. You could not extract what was revealed. It was as if there was an edge that it rested upon, but where you could only observe with a calm pulsation that only eyes rejected. The body, lost, untouched, devoid, sculpturally invalid. It wanted to cry, but its screams were abject, tearing its entrails while it remained motionless, as if disintegrating, disappearing, perverse. What remained was the inside-outside relationship. There was a colon, the empty vessel lying there, and the colon reaching from the rectum beyond the mouth to the edge of the mouth. And there was the colon tying the unnamed through the space, continuing the cycle. The word was shutting its birth in punctuation. What was the corpse doing but eating? Colon, colon, colon. There was a transgression with time, indicating a discontinuity that had to continue. The body was a cloud, no, a thing. Time, indicating a discontinuity that had to continue. The image was manifest back to the eyes. I see it and it calls with its otherness, draws itself through the undefined space. But the distance is convoluted, unnameable, dimensionless. The image can only depict the debauched beauty that ties I and the body. We are tied from ass to mouth, but the bond, boundary, defilement does not derive completeness. Derision emanates from I to it. Understanding has begun to cannibalize itself. The corpse is attempting to eat its way beyond the distance. It is caressed by the darkness, which keeps unrevealed, uncharacteristic, unable. There remains a thing swallowing colon. I call it a corpse, the dead, a lost memento that never existed, filth. However, I am tied to it by the colon, a tube, it that reaches through two spaces, attaching mouth to anus. Laughing in the hubris of the situation, I can only watch from where I am. Unable, time is glaze in my appearance. It tempts me to rationalize where I am. There is nowhere and everywhere. I cannot speak. Watching, voyeuristic, it remains there for what is there, this space. Boundaryless, yet so confined, feasible, yet blind. But there is a corpse, and it feeds by digesting. Why is it a corpse, this ghoulish phantasm, so close? It can radiate its body heat, and still beyond two horizons, almost a speck. There it is, there. Androgynous, deformed, the pure cloudy smoke, distinguishing its semblance. It is a corpse and it feeds. We are two forms separated by space, but what am I? Mutterings for breath? I can only smile as the waste in me defiles. How do I know what is being fed to me? The body runs away putrefied, unwilling, degraded. Derision sweats from its appearance. Nothing, nowhere to go. Something that is unnameable forces distaste into my clogged mouth. I can only see beyond me, and space on the other side ties my perception in tangles. Clarity lies in this comatose position of this corpse. Before it, it is darkness, and beyond it, it is more darkness. It shines voidless, like taste, but the taste is foreign. It can be described as the bile of silence, entangled with the laughing semantics of horror. Centrifugal gravity could be felt where I was. Where was I? It was still confusing. My mouth was attached to a colon. My eyes were crying in the void. Seeing I was not available to my eyes, there was rejection towards space. On this side, it was as if I was a floating head and there was gravity weighing it down. Rejection rejected space, made my body gravity. This situation was not hyperreal. It was beginning to formulate. Definition was still fighting the abject. Rationalization was confusing time. One thing was clear, and that was that I was beginning to metabolize space. Recapturing the situation was impossible. Chasing the infinite. This nutrition. A killing of I to the corpse. Why was it a corpse? Was it feeding me or I it? It was a corpse with eyes delineated death. It had no characteristics but a mouth that ate, swallowed, and a colon. I knew things would clear and muddle. A trace was being left between boundaries, divided by two horizons. One horizon was raining upward while the other was shining downwards. We were feeding each other in this in-between, this real and abstract cataclysm. Sense challenged itself. It threw me afloat in an upside-down ocean. It was conditioning I to the fantastic, but it knew that I was only a head. There was something strange about tasting the imagination. I knew I was, but what was an I? The place where I came from had a window to here, dreary from this digression, self-examination. I looked on and saw the corpse. It almost seemed unconscious rather than dead, still cadaver, still abject. Still, there was a change. This change was almost as slimy as it appeared to my eyes, but I had to look through imploding horizons. Then again, it was calmly clear. My sense of understanding was no better, but there was change. It was a vacuous change, atom-like in size, but the separation was beginning to exploit the space again. Vicious, tame. I wanted to talk to the corpse, but I could not speak. The regions were tracing each other's boundaries. The ray of shine became empty and carried by gestalt toward the unseen. I wonder if I had motives to ever understand what it was going on. Or was I bound in this inertia? Development shattered this stagnant situation. I was disappearing in development. The corpse withered in reanimation. There was a wound on the corpse. It was a puncture through the head area. This, I called the mouth. The mouth, murdered by colon, choking on them. It refused to pause. I was here, and here is where I accepted it was. My attention focused on the corpse. It had to weave through the horizon in order to perceive it. My eyes were being its eyes, while its mouth was translating my eyes and feeding me the waste. Space was also in the process of articulation. I felt things were slow but poignant, as if the minute was visible in the far. I yearned for meaning, but that only made the process slower. I tried to fall asleep, but the feeding tickled me to stay and watch, so I couldn't forget. Forgetting was so easy in time. Time blew forgetfulness in space. There was a whispering to keep going and not be debilitated by time. There were happenings, I just refused their occurrences. Deluge, viscous, tired thoughts, sleepless night. The corpse appeared more like a body the more the eyes pierced it. The two horizons were converging towards one. The absurd just seemed realistic. I wondered if the edges of I and the corpse would ever converge. Unlikely. Intrinsically, I felt not, but then I had no body to confirm instinct. Lucid transparency reflected in my iris, but there was conflict. I kept disappearing what I was becoming. I felt consciousness in this head I was in. It was not hemorrhaging, not painful, only revealing there would be detachment with I and that thing. It felt as if I was being beheaded in the conversion of two horizons. Movement, flotation, some encompassing of this distance. We must stay inside the room. There we will weave and tangle. Origins are blasphemy. Together the horizons become one through two natures, two lines. It was a cut, the gash, repulsive. It surrounded the circumstances. It dripped between two times, holding the tempo, keeping the harmony. Dissonance outraged as the blood dried. The void, it is what we are trying to understand. It can only ferment with the corpse. I felt enclosed in an ivory palace that wanted to preserve me like an art piece, a sculpture that can't stay still, a performance with no audience, undistinguished thoughts and ideas floating around like flies, encircling the despoiled, the exploding raw. This change. How did it get in here? Again, movements swift and surreal. Why was this change making me feel decrepit? Like the corpse, sadist, chauvinist, never settling. I could not see myself. There were no mirrors to mimic my death. The corpse always seemed radiant by dead, its image superimposed inside me. A cunning cancer. I am now part of the process. Why can I not see or understand? The silence is overbearing, but the abstract talks in silence. It punctures with images, persecutions. If these are lacerations, they feel real. I'm evolving in their fury, molded into action. I feel like action. I am action. It is simple. I keep repeating that, painful to hear, but beautiful to think. Outside somewhere, there is a horizon and a woman. If I close my eyes, I can picture her. I felt like I was coming out of some Atlantic fit, anarchy inside my system, inside out, deploying open conclusions. Conclusions should always remain open. There was no ending to this. Continuation. Resistance was smirking in the corner, held by a niche, exhausted in subjectivity. It had defeated my attempt to fly off the page. It had refused me understanding it. I was only empty. I knew there had been change. There would now be precaution around me and he. I tasted the hubris. It was delicious, as pure, as raw as I. Tasting something close to myself, moving in this continuity. Had to keep moving there. There, always towards I, he. The system had shown collapse, a zone with unwritten potential. No rules, can only open boundaries. Investigation breaking through the overheated raw. The corpse stronger. I wonder, what does that mean? It is dead, a dead strength, a contradiction. This is a sign of how things work, like two posited words leading to the oxymoron, sentences that negate themselves, cracking in the center. I am dead, she is alive. This chamber is starting to feel thin, almost transparent, as if I was breathing, was recycling the suffocation. Instructed through rebellion, I had come to know it was misleading, no, but pertinent to a way out or in. I analyzed identity, watching him closely, a specimen in the distance of the room, quivering in his psychology, pissed when I should be the endless sin. I had torn him out of that power, that confidence. Capabilities were in rejuvenation. Realizing the false in the all-powerful, I had become powerful. We are in the realm of the unself. Selfishness is arrogance. To know why? Impotence can only come from it. Description has to be careful. It must avoid the genius, the one, the truth. Spit on genius, scribble over it, cover it with graphite, erase it, melt its aesthetics. Congruence refused, urinate on perfection, flood its house. It has no stories. Its stories are puddle. It has no mistakes, not even ripples. Telling is not nice. I have to bathe in opposition to get away from telling. I have to be atrocious, accepting the execution of this movement. I want to be shot down on the brink, on the edge. Something dying in life. This room is the bullet. I must find the gun, the tool. It may lie with he. He can end, but he may die as well. The executioner that kills himself. The corpse that feeds. The eye that becomes many. I love this world of suicide. It does not tell, it is told. No doors to open, they are open. No boundaries to cross. Everything is in flux. Dying in narration. Words have eyes. They cause a fragmentation. They tell time. They allow tempo. They are the ventriloquist. They speak from the gut with venom. The poison, the story. Keep it alive in catatonic hallucination. Fingernails tapping on concrete. Scratching, pounding. Giving life in anguish. Anonymous antagonist, flying, crying, abstract. I cannot be killed. Killed in language. Too many angles in this composition. Is death just another word?